November 26, 2000. Bramley, Leeds, England. The night air was cold and sharp, the streets quiet as Christmas lights flickered softly in windows. 16-year-old Leanne Tiernan walked home after a day of shopping with a friend. She was just minutes from safety, a short walk through woods she had known all her life. But then, silence fell. No screams, no sign of struggle. Just a sudden, chilling absence. Leanne never made it home that night. Her disappearance shattered the calm of the town. Hours turned to days, days to months. The police searched every corner, fields, rivers, buildings, desperate for answers. Then, in August 2001, the woods gave up a terrible secret. A body wrapped in plastic, tied tightly with twine, frozen in time. What horror had unfolded in those dark woods? Who could do such a thing? This is a true story. Every fact is real and verified. Subscribe now to Unbelievably and watch to the very end. On that cold Sunday afternoon in late November 2000, Leanne Tiernan was full of life and hope. She was a shy but cheerful 16-year-old girl from Bramley, a quiet suburb of Leeds in West Yorkshire. The Christmas season was starting, and Leanne and her friend had been out shopping for presents. The streets were alive with festive cheer, but Leanne was eager to get home and wrap her gifts. Her house was just a short walk away. After leaving her friend's side, Leanne took a familiar shortcut through Huffley Gill, a narrow stretch of woodland she had crossed many times before. It was dusk, the sun dipping low, shadows stretching long and dark across the trees. But this time, something was different. No one knows exactly what happened in those woods, but what followed was a nightmare that would haunt a community and change police work forever. When Leanne did not arrive home, her family's worry grew fast. They called her friends, retraced her steps, and finally alerted the police. The search was enormous. Officers combed through nearly 2,000 buildings, dragged rivers and lakes, and questioned hundreds of people. Yet days passed, then weeks, and still no sign of Leanne. The town was gripped by fear and confusion. How could a young girl disappear without a trace in a familiar place? Then, nearly 9 months later, on August 20, 2001, a shocking discovery was made in Lindley Woods, over 16 miles from where Leanne vanished. A hiker stumbled upon something wrapped tightly in plastic bags and a large duvet cover. Police soon confirmed the worst. The body was Leanne's. The condition of her body told a grim story. Forensic experts believed she had been kept in cold storage, possibly a freezer, for months before being left in the woods. It was clear she had suffered terribly. The case quickly became one of the largest and most complex murder investigations in British history. But what truly set it apart was the science that would crack it wide open: dog DNA profiling. Investigators found tiny hairs on Leanne's body, dog hairs. And those hairs led straight to John Taylor, a parcel delivery man who lived less than a mile from Leanne's home. Taylor, once seen as an ordinary man, soon became the prime suspect. His arrest shocked the community. The quiet streets of Bramley were no longer safe. Taylor pleaded guilty to kidnapping and murdering Leanne, earning 2 life sentences. The judge called him a dangerous sexual sadist and said he would never be free again. Leanne's story is more than just a crime. It is a chilling reminder of the evil that can hide behind ordinary faces and the power of science to bring justice. This is a real story. Every detail you hear can be verified. If true crime stories like this grip your heart and mind, subscribe now to Unbelievably. The next truth we uncover might hit even closer to home. Leanne Tiernan was born in 1984, the youngest child in her family. She lived with her parents Keith and Claire and her older brother in Bramley, a quiet neighbourhood in Leeds. Leanne was known as a kind, gentle girl who enjoyed music and spending time with friends. She was a typical teenager, looking forward to Christmas and the simple pleasures of life. On November 26, 2000, Leanne and her friend spent the afternoon shopping for Christmas presents. They laughed, talked, and dreamed about the holidays. But as evening drew near, Leanne's friend went home, and Leanne set off on the familiar path toward her own house. The route took her through Huffley Gill, a wooded path she had walked countless times before. The sky was overcast, the chill of winter settling in. It was a short walk, less than 15 minutes, but that night, Leanne never arrived home. Her family waited, growing more anxious by the hour. When she didn't answer her phone or come back, they contacted the police. The search began immediately. West Yorkshire Police launched a massive investigation. Officers and volunteers scoured the area for clues. They searched buildings, parks, lakes, and rivers. The local community joined the effort, handing out flyers and reporting sightings. Yet, for weeks, there was no sign of Leanne. The media attention grew. Leanne's face was on newspapers and TV screens. The nation was gripped by the mystery of the missing girl. Was she hiding? Had she run away? Or worse, had someone taken her? The police focused on every lead, no matter how small. They interviewed hundreds of people who knew Leanne, including neighbors, friends, and even strangers. A profile of a potential suspect began to form. A man who might have known the area well and could move unnoticed. Then came the discovery that changed everything. Nearly 9 months after Leanne disappeared, a hiker in Lindley Woods found something wrapped tightly in plastic. When police arrived, they uncovered the body of Leanne Tiernan. The body was wrapped in a duvet cover and plastic bags, tied with string and twine. Forensic experts noticed that the body showed signs of cold storage, likely kept in a freezer for months. This chilling fact suggested that the killer tried to delay decomposition and hide the evidence. Detectives worked tirelessly to find the person responsible. Then, a breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Dog hairs. Dog hairs were found on Leanne's body, a clue that led investigators to John Taylor. Taylor was a parcel delivery driver who lived close to Leanne's home. Known locally as the Pet Man, he was known to keep several dogs. Using forensic dog DNA profiling, a new technique, at the time police matched the hairs on Leanne to Taylor's dogs. This scientific breakthrough linked him directly to the crime. Taylor was arrested in October 2001. During police interviews, his behavior raised more suspicion. Eventually, he confessed to the abduction and murder of Leanne Tiernan. In July 2002, Taylor was sentenced to life imprisonment. The judge described him as a dangerous sexual sadist and warned that he posed a permanent threat to society. Leanne's family was left to grieve a loss too cruel to bear. They spoke publicly, hoping to raise awareness and prevent such tragedies from happening again. The case remains one of the most haunting in British criminal history. It showed how evil could hide behind a familiar face and highlighted the power of forensic science in solving crimes. This is a real story. You can verify every fact. If stories like this keep you on the edge of your seat, subscribe now to Unbelievably. The next story might reveal a truth you never expected. The police investigation into Leanne's disappearance and murder was one of the largest and most detailed in West Yorkshire's history. From the moment Leanne was reported missing, every resource was thrown at finding her or the person responsible. Detective Superintendent Steve Fulcher led the investigation. He described the case as deeply tragic and complex. Every step was carefully planned to gather as much evidence as possible, hoping to uncover the truth. In the days following Leanne's disappearance, police mounted a massive search operation. More than 1,700 buildings were searched, including homes, sheds, warehouses, and garages. Underwater searches were conducted in nearby lakes and rivers. Using divers and sonar technology, local people joined the search, walking miles of countryside, calling out her name, hoping for a sign. The community was united in grief and determination. Despite these efforts, no clues were found in the first weeks. The case began to grow cold, with questions but no answers. The turning point came with the discovery of Leanne's body in August 2001 in Lindley Woods near Otley, about 16 miles from her home. The scene shocked investigators. The way her body was wrapped and preserved suggested careful planning by the killer. Forensic experts carefully examined every detail. They found traces of dog hairs clinging to the fabric wrapping Leanne's body. These hairs became the key to unlocking the case. Dog DNA profiling was a new technique at the time. It allowed scientists to match dog hairs found at crime scenes to a specific animal. This kind of evidence was crucial in linking suspects to crimes where human DNA might not be present. When police matched the dog hairs to John Taylor's dogs, a suspect emerged. John Taylor was a quiet man, working as a parcel delivery driver. He lived alone in a small bungalow just a mile from Leanne's house. He had no criminal record and was considered by neighbors to be an ordinary person. Though some thought he was strange, Taylor was known to own several dogs, which he cared for obsessively. He was nicknamed the Pet Man by locals because of his love for animals, but beneath this quiet exterior was a dark secret. When Taylor was arrested in October 2001, he denied any involvement at first, but the evidence against him was strong, and after intense police interviews, he confessed to abducting and murdering Leanne. Taylor admitted to planning the abduction carefully. He had been watching Leanne for some time and chose the moment she walked through the woods alone. He forced her into his home, where he kept her for weeks. Taylor confessed to strangling Leanne and keeping her body in a freezer before disposing of it in the woods. The chilling details sent shockwaves through the community. At the trial, Taylor pleaded guilty to murder and kidnapping. The judge sentenced him to life imprisonment with a recommendation that he never be released. The judge described Taylor as a dangerous sexual sadist, warning that he posed a permanent threat to society. Leanne's family spoke out after the trial. They called for better protections for children and more awareness about the dangers lurking in everyday places. The maddening case of Leanne Tiernan changed the way police investigate crimes in the UK. It was the first time dog DNA profiling was used in a murder case, proving the power of forensic science. The case also sparked discussions about child safety, community awareness, and the importance of listening to small clues that might prevent tragedies. Leanne's story is heartbreaking, but also a reminder that justice can be found through persistence, science, and courage. This is a real story. Every fact you hear is public. You can check it yourself if real-life mysteries leave you breathless. Subscribe now to Unbelievably, because the next truth we uncover might hit even closer to home. Despite John Taylor's conviction, many questions lingered in the minds of the public and investigators alike. How did someone so close to Leanne's home manage to abduct her without being noticed? Could this tragedy have been prevented? John Taylor lived a simple, quiet life. A 42-year-old delivery man, he was a familiar figure in the neighborhood. He had no previous convictions, and neighbors often described him as quiet and private. But some also mentioned he was strange, rarely socializing and keeping mostly to himself. Taylor's obsession with his dogs was well known. He took great care of them, walking them daily, sometimes for hours. This love for animals would become a crucial piece of evidence later on. Leanne, on the other hand, was a lively and hopeful teenager. She dreamed of finishing school and starting a career. Friends and family remember her as caring, shy but brave. November 26, 2000 started like any other cold autumn day. Leanne and her friend went shopping, buying gifts and enjoying the festive atmosphere. After parting ways with her friend, Leanne took the short walk home through the familiar woods, but that short walk turned into a nightmare. Taylor had been watching her. He waited until the moment she was alone, then struck. Using force and threats, he abducted Leanne, taking her to his home. The horror of those moments, though not fully known, was enough to break a community's heart. Once Taylor was arrested, police uncovered more than just his confession. Inside his home, they found disturbing evidence of his crimes. Items linked to Leanne were discovered, confirming the truth. Taylor's confession was chilling and detailed. He admitted to strangling Leanne and hiding her body in a freezer for months. Then, fearing discovery, he moved her body to the woods, wrapped tightly to delay decomposition. The case of Leanne Tiernan was groundbreaking for forensic science. The use of dog DNA profiling helped link Taylor to the crime in a way never done before in the UK. This method analysed the tiny hairs found on Leanne's body and compared them to those of Taylor's dogs. The match was undeniable. This breakthrough helped secure Taylor's conviction and set new standards for future investigations. What would you do if you noticed someone acting strangely around your neighborhood? Would you have seen the warning signs? The maddening case of Leanne Tiernan remains a haunting reminder that evil can hide behind familiar faces. This is not fiction. Every detail is part of a real case that you can verify yourself. As the investigation unfolded, the community struggled to come to terms with the horror that had taken place so close to home. The quiet streets of Bramley, once safe and familiar, now felt haunted by the memory of what happened to Leanne. Detective Superintendent Steve Fulcher and his team worked tirelessly to build the case against John Taylor. The investigation was complicated by the time that had passed since Leanne's disappearance. Evidence had to be carefully preserved, and new forensic techniques were applied to old clues. Taylor's arrest and confession brought some relief, but also raised questions about how such a crime could go unnoticed for so long. The police reviewed their procedures and increased efforts to protect vulnerable young people in the community. Leanne's case became a catalyst for changes in how missing persons cases were handled in the UK. Leanne's family showed immense strength throughout the ordeal. Despite their grief, they spoke publicly about the importance of awareness and vigilance. Keith and Claire Tiernan became advocates for child safety, sharing their story to warn others and push for better laws and protections. They emphasized the need for communities to watch out for each other and to trust their instincts when something feels wrong. The public was shocked by the details of the case. The fact that Taylor lived so close to Leanne and had no previous record made people question how well they really knew their neighbours. Discussions about stranger danger, child safety, and community responsibility became common. Leanne's story was featured in news reports, documentaries, and crime shows, keeping her memory alive and reminding people of the ongoing need for vigilance. The maddening case of Leanne Tiernan left a lasting mark on British criminal history. It demonstrated the power of modern forensic science and showed how determination and community effort can bring justice. The case also served as a warning: evil can hide behind ordinary faces, and sometimes the most dangerous people are those who seem the least suspicious. Today, the woods where Leanne's body was found stand silent. The trees whisper the secrets of a terrible crime, a place that holds the sorrow and questions that may never be fully answered. Leanne's family continues to remember her, holding on to the hope that her story will help protect others. Though John Taylor was convicted, some questions and theories continue to swirl in the public mind. True crime enthusiasts and local residents asked if there could have been others involved or if warning signs had been missed. Let's explore some of the key unanswered questions and theories that emerged after the trial. While Taylor confessed to the crime alone, some speculated if someone else might have helped or known more than they said. The meticulous way Leanne's body was preserved suggested planning and knowledge that could have been shared. Police found no evidence to support accomplices, but the theory lingered in conversations. Many wondered if neighbors or friends might have seen suspicious behavior, but did not report it. Taylor was a quiet man, and while some found him odd, few suspected something so terrible. The case pushed communities to be more aware and proactive. It sparked campaigns encouraging people to speak up if they noticed strange or worrying behavior. Leanne's case influenced national conversations about child safety and missing persons. Police departments improved their response times and introduced new protocols for urgent searches. Schools and communities increased education about personal safety and stranger danger, aiming to empower children with knowledge. The use of DNA profiling was revolutionary. Since then, forensic science has advanced even further, using new technologies like genetic genealogy to solve cold cases. Leanne's case is often cited in training and documentaries as a turning point in forensic investigations. Every year, memorials are held in Leanne's memory. Friends, family, and community members come together to honor her life and advocate for child protection. Her story reminds us that even in darkness, hope and justice can shine through. The tragic story of Leanne Tiernan is one that shakes us to the core. A bright young girl with her whole life ahead of her, taken far too soon by a man who lived just steps away. Her disappearance, the agonizing wait for answers, and the horrifying discovery of her fate remind us of the fragility of safety and the darkness that can hide behind everyday faces. John Taylor's conviction brought justice, but it could never erase the pain and loss suffered by Leanne's family and community. Instead, their strength and courage turned this heartbreak into a powerful call for awareness, change, and vigilance. Leanne's case also changed the course of forensic science and policing in the UK, showing how new technology and determined investigators can uncover the truth, no matter how deeply it is buried. Her memory lives on, not only in the hearts of those who loved her, but as a reminder to us all to protect the vulnerable, to listen to our instincts, and to never ignore the signs when something feels wrong. Have you heard this story before? What lessons do you think we should take from it? If true crime stories that reveal hidden truths captivate you, subscribe now to Unbelievably. Every week, we bring you chilling, real-life cases that stay with you long after the last word. Watch the next video on your screen or dive into our full playlist of real mysteries and crimes, because the next story might be even more shocking.